I might be channeling Carl Jung. I'm going to talk about that. I wrote an article about it this morning, and I really want you to have it because we're all channeling something, meaning that we each come into the world to bring in information, to develop information, to cause our world to evolve in some way. We all do it. We don't come in with nothing. We come in because of our families and histories and that genealogy and our ancestry and all that stuff. So we come in with a lot of different ideas about things. But where do we get that from? Where does it come from? Where did our families learn anything? How did they discover things? We're always discovering. We have very limited awareness about what happens in our lives or in our world because we're always evolving and expanding, and that's what's happening in our world right now, which is why I'm talking about this. This morning I got up and I started watching a class, basically, on Carl Jung and talking about the archetypes. Now, I had not studied any of this. I haven't studied Carl Jung, except a few years ago I was introduced to a lot of that. I've heard it forever. Everybody has, and people talk to me about it, but I'd never actually studied. There are a lot of people I didn't study. I didn't study a lot of things. I'll be quite honest about that, because I would receive information intuitively. That's what happened since I was a child. I did not read in school. They thought I had a problem. I've talked about this before. We discovered later, when I was 70 years old, that I had ADHD, so there was a reason that I didn't read all the time. But where did I get all this other information from? How did it come to me? How did I do certain things? I could never explain that, but it felt always quite strange to me until now, and I can no longer deny that. But when I was listening to this class, it was so fascinating when he was talking about the archetypes, because we all have them, and Carl Jung discovered and developed a lot of different modalities in coaching and psychology. And then, so that's why I said, gee, I didn't know that I was receiving this information, because when I go back and I read my information that I've been channeling since 1988 from my guide Wilhelm. It's like, this sounds a lot like the same ideas and beliefs as Carl Jung, but it went beyond that. I started looking at others. Alfred Adler, inferiority. See, I know none of us are inferior. And so he came in to bring that information so that we could evolve as humans. That's what we do. Everybody comes in to bring something. And I started looking at that and I go, oh, well, maybe this is why my work was so effective with my clients. Because I discovered I had this information. I put together this program. Many of you might know that. And in December of 2021, I put a bunch of people in there and I said, let's see what happens. And it kind of freaked me out a little bit because they were really changing. They were dealing with things that I had not uncovered or looked at in myself for decades, because it took a while. I've gone to therapy. I've done all sorts of things because I couldn't understand why I wasn't like so many other people. I wasn't supposed to be. You aren't either. None of us are, and that's the part where we are. And so now my coaching is all about authenticity. That's the only thing that I'm doing, and the reason I'm doing because it's so important in our world right now, and I'll explain to you why I know that, which I didn't know either. I put this all in the article where I had started receiving this information several years ago about what was happening in our world, the change that was going to happen, what I was told, that everyone is going to start to have to look at who they are. It's a reckoning that we're having in the world. And you can see it. When I first started talking about it, people said, this guy is nuts. What is he talking about? We can't see anything happening. And a lot of people are still in that place. They don't even know that there's a war going on. They don't even know that there are certain countries where people are starving to death because we have famines in our world, and none of us are paying attention to them. And that's why the world is going through this change. And it is a change that civilizations have gone through over time. If you study history, I was led back years ago to start looking at history, which I never did before. Didn't care about that at all. But then when I started looking, I go, oh, wow. I see what's happening now. And then I got led just recently, and if you haven't seen this, you might want to watch it, but Ken Burns, he was really troubled by what was happening in the world, and he decided to do a documentary, a series on the Holocaust, on the U.S. and the Holocaust. And if you haven't seen it, you should watch some of it. But it was the denial that we were all going through about what might have been happening in our world, and it's the same thing going on right now. And I was doing a bit of that, but I can't do that because I know what my role is and what I'm meant to do is to cause people to be happy, to cause people to be prosperous and own who they are. That's the only thing I'm doing, and those are the people that I want to work with. Because when you go to your authentic self, all the other stuff that's going on in the world doesn't bother you. And I know this because this is what happened with the work that I went through, the work that I was given. I started to understand this is an evolutionary change that we're moving through. And when that happens, that means that we're supposed to harness what we came to the world to offer and cause the world to be better, cause the world to offer more love and light so that we can shift things. You can see that that's not happening. We have all these problems going on, and we're going to go through more of it. And I could even explain why the United States was having such a terrible time, and we still will, because we have another year of this to move through. We have a little difficult time that we're going to move through in our November, too, with our election. But then the world's going to look at us and say, what are they doing? Because, see, we're forming the world that we want to see in the future, globally. It's not just the United States, but we've been the pillars of the, we've been the example that everyone looks to. We haven't done well. We said we were going to be the land of the free and the home of the brave and all of that, and everybody's going to be equal, and that didn't happen. We can see it. And so what I know is that what I'm supposed to do is use the work that I've garnered over all of these years. I'm going to be 72 in less than about 3 weeks. And so I've had a lot of information, and I've written so much that I'm going to put out in a book. I have a lot of things I'm going to do. But the one thing that I have is my program, because it's a culmination of everything that I have. And what that does is takes you, the individual, into understanding who you are, how important you are, what your life is supposed to be, how happy you could be. You're supposed to have the love of your life. You're supposed to have all the money you want. You're supposed to have all the possessions, all of those things. And that was your God-given right. And the only way you get there is when you decide to become your authentic self. That's it. That's all you have to do. But see, it's this process that a lot of us are not willing to do, because we have to look at, what did I do wrong? I don't want to look at that. Where did I mess up? Where did I fail? Because we have never failed at anything. No one. It's only we were trying to learn something, and we're supposed to take that information that we got from that experience and then add it to something else and cause our lives to be better. But it's a process which I had to go through. I have healed so many things physically, because it's a mind-body connection as well. So I've done so many of those things that I want to give to so many other people. Because when you start to get why you are allowing illness to show up, it changes your life. And I did that just the other day. I've done so many of them. But the last one, this is why I'm still a little sick. Some of you might have heard that. Because I went back and I listened to a recording that I did, a channeling session of Wilhelm, more than a year ago. And I listened to it and I go, oh, I did know everything. Because see, when I channel, more information comes through that I don't even know. And it's so incredibly helpful. But I wasn't giving it to folks. I wasn't putting it out there because I was still a little embarrassed. That's what's gone on. I was even embarrassed with my family. They're thinking, why is he so weird? I was weird because I was receiving information that was going to be helpful, and it was different. And this is what each of us are meant to do. There's no person born that does not have some wonderful quality, ability, talent that they're meant to bring to the world. But we may doubt it. We may judge it, just as I did. So I know that my job, my purpose, and my life is going to be out taking those people and working with them until you come to success, until you have everything that you want, because it is possible. Now, you'll have to change your mind a lot. That's what I had to do. I had to look at everything that went wrong. I had to figure out, oh, wait a minute, why'd that happen? And then when I figured that out, now I had solutions I could give to others. You can do the same thing. Every single person. We think that we've screwed up stuff, except that's the thing that gives us our life's value and purpose when we decide to own that and then use it to cause humanity to become better. What's going to happen now? You're going to have uncomfortable conversations. That's what's coming up. Because everyone's going to have a different opinion about what is happening in the world. I'm talking about self-empowerment. My work is about causing you to own who you are. Nothing that's going to happen out in the world is going to affect you. You're going to love who you are, you're going to make choices, and you're going to become successful, prosperous, and happy. Those are the people that I'm going to work with, and I know that it happens because I've already done it. I've seen it with so many, and I've created people, you know this, who have become superstars. Didn't know what I was up to, but now I do, and now I have a plan that I can get everyone there. I'm doing a channeling session tomorrow because I know there will be more information coming through because we're about to move into another development of our world change. And if we understand what's happening and if we utilize it, it could be a great one. So I hope you show up. And these are all the things that I also have in my program, which I am changing as of Monday. So if you want to see that, please look at it this weekend. All right, you guys. See you soon.